We say good evening and welcome to the Republican debate on the Republican television with Republican panelists. We shall be talking Martinez Zogo. He used to work with Amplitude FM. The animator is no more. He was kidnapped. He was assassinated. And of course, the corpse was exposed. Can we say Martinez Zogo was the sacrificial lamb, given that we are getting news, there are rumors that two camps are actually fighting for the succession as to what concerns the helm of the state. And then equally Martinez Zogo, the outings of many chiefs, those of the Lekki and equally the Sawa chiefs, saying that justice should be given to Martinez Zogo. How to understand the outings of chiefs as what concerns the assassination of Martinez Zogo? We have a chief with us here in the studio. But before then, we shall talk the CDC workers who were killed this week. Of course, 5 of them, according to official figures, were actually killed by the separatists. Can we say 7 years on, is there still possibility for the separatists and Yaoundé to actually dialogue after the major national dialogue in 2019? We have an expert in conflict resolution with us, and equally I will begin with him. He is an educationist. He is the principal of Harvard complex here in Yaoundé, Mr. Afigwa Tabon Cornelius. We say good evening and welcome. Welcome to the Republican debate.
Good evening, Mr. Clarkson, and I'm very happy to be on this platform after a while. And you know, it is really saddening to imagine that one who was doing his job was assassinated and then the cops exposed. And up to now, we are still struggling to find out those behind the kidnapped and the killing. It is actually disturbing news. In the years, we've understood and we've known that journalism or journalists
we shall be coming to our topic.
Yes,
it was just to say welcome.
Yes, thank you.
How are you?
No, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
We are happy to have you in the program.
Yes.
And sitting just beside you equally, they call him, of course, Hassan Sama, our conflict resolution expert. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Tabi. It's a pleasure to be here once more.
It's a pleasure equally for us to have you. They call him Seseko. He is equally chief. He is equally doctor, but I know that he loves better Chief Oseseko. Is Chief Oseseko. Okay, we say welcome, Chief. Welcome, Seseko. It's a pleasure for us to have you. Good evening.
Yeah, thank you, Tabi Clarkson, for the invitation. Greetings to the other Republican members of the panel, and special greetings to our millions of televiewers out there. We want to assure them that we will always do our best to give them our own point of view, contributing to the betterment of this great nation, which has been brought down to its knees as a result of bad governance. We just hope that as we continue to talk, as we continue to draw light to some of the few things we know, one day, as they always say, our talk, our cry may fall in the right ears and something done for this country.
It's a pleasure for us to have Seseko Chief Dr. Eyol Tar Joseph in our program tonight. But before we talk Martinez Zogo, I would like us to focus a little bit on the Anglophone crisis with the killings of these 5 CDC workers this week. You got the news, Afingwa Atabon?
Yes, Mr. Clarkson, you know, it is like just with decline that is actually unheard of. And 7 years along the line, you realize that we talked about the major national dialogue and nothing has been done, and the killing continue. And we continue to blame the Amber as we can put it, and then the government is doing actually nothing to bring this thing on the table. You know, last time we saw the outing of one of the ministers refusing the fact that the Canadian government has not done anything to bring the two partners.
We shall be coming back to you, I think, but the time for us to take this the jingle before we come back. Please, can we have the jingle before we come back? Welcome back. Yes, I think we're talking the CDC workers killed by the separatists.
Yes, just like I said, you see, if we do not keep our pride aside and come back to the table to resolve this crisis the way it's supposed to be done, these killings are going to continue because the whole crisis has been neglected, and you know, wrong persons have taken opportunities and they are benefiting hugely from it, and you realize that just the innocent ones are being killed. It's not the first time we find innocent people being killed, and what has been done? The whole thing is being neglected. We continue to sing and repeat the very thing and announce in the televisions and the news that this and so persons have been killed, and nothing is being done. After the major national dialogue, we expected something to have, or maybe it was supposed to have been a major change, but nothing has happened. And the government, we are calling upon the government to realize that the major national dialogue was a failure, and something should be done to bring this crisis to an end. If not, maybe 10 years along the line, we will continue to find our people being killed. In some villages, they are not even accessible, as we say. You'll be surprised that at times it's been mentioned even in the social media and even the television that, calm is returning to the regions, but this is not the case.
At Abonka, we say there is still that possibility. There is still hope for us to have dialogue between the separatists.
There is a great hope. Yaoundé. There is a great hope, but I think Yaoundé needs to keep aside the pride. Yaoundé need to forget the fact that stop calling these people terrorists. There is need to come to the table. But until this is done, we can't do it because everybody is prioritizing its position. Why Yaoundé think that they are terrorists? The terrorists think that they want secession. And who are suffering? The innocent civilians are suffering. There is a possibility if the system allow the people who can do this to do it. We have young, vibrant persons from this region who can actually call these boys to order. But are they given the opportunities? We have wrong person in wrong position. We have square pegs in round holes. This is what is killing the country. People who are even given the opportunity to resolve this crisis don't have the goodwill for this country. All they want to do is to benefit, and people are benefiting hugely from this crisis that they don't even wish to see it come to an end.
So some are making some benefits.
Of course, people are benefiting hugely.
It's business now.
That is what it has turned out to be. It is actually heavy business for some persons in the system and some persons who claim to be
But we all think we have suffered for 7 years now. It's time for it to stop.
It is time for it to stop, and the right persons to be brought to the table to resolve this crisis. Until this is done, when we keep having the wrong persons given the opportunity to resolve this crisis, we will keep singing the same song. This crisis cannot be resolved until something is done. We need people from the grassroots. We need people from the masses. We need the people who actually represent the people to be given the audacity, the temerity to come to the table to resolve this crisis. If the system keep thinking that they can resolve it this way, 10 years along the line, we will keep burying our brothers and sisters.
We say thank you. The time for us to welcome our prof, they call him Prof. Edmond Bilowa. He is vice rector in the University of Yaoundé too, and equally a fervent militant of the CPDM party, to whom we say good evening and welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to the fellow panelists, and good evening to the viewers out there.
It's true that President Paul Biya just celebrated his 90th anniversary. I did not see you in Palais des Sports. Were you there?
No, I was not there. I mean, Palais des Sports cannot accommodate everybody.
Yeah.
And it's a very small place. I wonder if they can even have more than 50 people there, 50,000 people there. They should have organized that thing at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, I think, for everybody to come and because what is important about it is, the concert, or the musician playing and things like that. So if you hold the event in a small place, how many people can attend? Yeah, I was not there. I could have been there, but I was very busy because students from Yaoundé too were invited. So I could have been there if I wanted to.
Paul Biya 90, you are one of the fervent militants of the CPDM party. Can we say that it was a happy celebration, given that at 90 is quite fortunate to attain 90. It's not easy.
No, it's very fortunate. It's not easy. How many people have reached 90? Very few, eh? Very few. If you even look at the world leaders, maybe Ronald Reagan was close to 90. Apart from that, there is nobody else. They all died before. Okay, so he's very, very, very lucky.
Given that he is your champion, you are preparing already for next elections? In the CPTL?
No, it's too early. The next election will take place in 2025. I'm not sure that he will run. He hasn't said that he will run. So it's too early. He might say that he wants to retire. It's too early to talk about 2025.
Too early to talk about 2025. We say thank you for coming, Professor Edmond Bilowa of the CPDM party. Well, with us we have equally Hassan Sama. I will welcome you with Dodo Ndoke. You heard that the minister, of course, will be laid to rest, or has just been laid to rest this afternoon in the east, in Baturi in the east. You heard the news of the minister passing away. Were you surprised? It's true that it came abruptly.
Yeah, Mr. Tabi, I got the news, I heard the news, and I've never known that death surprises, because the person who decides about death, we have no control over the person. So, to me, I've never taken any death to be surprised. Yes. What surprised me was the fact that after his death, he has not been replaced. Because we think that a sitting minister of that caliber cannot just pass on, and the powers that behave as if it meant nothing, as if his presence or absence means nothing. So that is the only way I'm reading it. Secondly, I am surprised that I've not really heard, maybe has been passing in other studios, programs like where they pay homage to him, and they're like, I don't know. Unfortunately, I do not follow the state media. Maybe they have been doing something there. And then lastly, I think that for a minister or for a personality of that rank to just pass on, as you wanted to describe it as abruptly, were expected that they should do some element of inquiry to find out exactly what happened. I do not know if it has been done, but I think that in a democratic country, in a civilized society, the population should know what is going on. And the only thing I can wish the minister is that he should go safely.
He was one of the youngest ministers here, and very, very, very dynamic. Gabriel Dodo Ndoke. He was just 51 years old. Dodo Ndoke. May his soul rest in perfect peace. The time for me to welcome Chief Seseko Eyongta Joseph with the prices of a taxi. It's true that it has moved now from 250 francs during the day to 300 francs. Can we say it was expected?
Well, I don't know what to say. To me, it sounds very interesting to Cameroonians, because they have absorbed it without any problem. So it means they have welcomed the increases as usual. And what can we say? I'm not the mouthpiece of the population, since I'm not an elected official. But I would just simply say that they should keep being docile. To us who are from the Northwest and Southwest, we are already used to expensive life. Because since 2016, we have not had anything easy on our part. We have been already spending our salaries times 3 based on the fact that we have been taking care of so many people. To the other many in the other 8 regions, it comes like a surprise to them, and they are going to see what it means by the economy being difficult on people. You know, when they talk about price increases or whatever it is, some of us are not looking at it as anything that is strange. I was expecting this to come ever since, because we had already started seeing signs of a crippling government economically, and we knew that they were going to look for means to increase taxes or to increase revenue collection. And one of those easiest places is to go through fuel, which they know that if they do it and try to convince people that it has been done rationally, people will swallow it, and then the impact will touch all the other sectors of the economy, as it is going to be the case, and then from there they will now get the taxes and people will not notice. You know, when they say the price increase has gone from 250 to 300, people minimize it. It is when I went to put fuel in my car that I noticed how serious the matter was. For example, I used to give 13,000 francs and I have about 20 liters of fuel. Okay? Now I gave 13,000 francs, which is more than what I used to give, and I had 17 liters. Which means that is minus 3 liters of fuel. If you evaluate it from that perspective, then you will see what it takes. If you take the normal person who may say that it is just 50 francs as they seem to have swallowed it, you will see that if you multiply 50 francs times a day, that somebody may take 2-3 transport fare, that gives you 200. If you takes it for the 7 days a week, it gives you 1,400. If you takes it to 1 month, we are talking about some 8,000-9,000 francs that people are going to spend additionally to what they have taken. So when you look at all of these things, they become very disturbing if the Cameroonians are going to survive 2023. But as we keep saying, our intention is not to kill the hope of many.
Especially when there is life, there is hope.
Yes, but sometimes it is better to die than to be alive when your life is hopeless, because you keep bearing pains and then you ask yourself whether it is worth living.
Okay.
You know, our people usually say that it is better to live one day like a lion than to live 1,000 years like a sheep.
Okay. It's so that I would like, given that you are all from the former Southern Cameroons, I would like that you should react to the killings of the 5 CDC workers in Tico. I'll begin with you, Asan Sama, before we move on to our real topics of the day. Asan Sama, a word on that?
Yeah, it didn't come to me as a surprise that people are dying and that they were killed. That's the special 5 that were killed that day, as the government has told us. But what has embarrassed me is the way some of you journalists and some Cameroonians have drawn conclusions. They have drawn conclusions that they were killed by separatists. And I have never heard where investigation has been done or a court session took place and they knew the people who killed. They said they were killed by people carrying arms. Who is not carrying arms in Southern Cameroon? The military is carrying arms. The separatists are carrying arms. So, and all this, the 2 camps, they are all wearing almost the same uniform and moving them freely. So when something happens like this, I think that we should take time and be very cautious, because in conflict resolution, our language matters a lot. When we stigmatize a people, like my friend was saying here, when you draw conclusion that it was done by these people.
Do you think the people down there don't know the separatists?
Just what is written on the separatist face. What I want to tell you is that if you have forgotten so soon, one high-profile Cameroonian said that there were ministers from Southern Cameroon, from Anglophone regions, who had set parallel groups for the same fight. And their own was to tarnish the image of this and that. I am not justifying anybody. Nobody has to kill anybody. But the thing is that my conclusion in this thing is that if you go to Southern Cameroon and you are killed, you are a fool. Because you have to be careful with your life. If they say, don't go out, and for 1 day or 2 days, meanwhile, people have stayed out for some time for a month. What was 2 days that you have to go? Yeah, you have to risk your life. Because
the last time you were in Southern Cameroon, former Southern Cameroon was when? The last time you were in Bamenda Boya?
I want to tell you the experience. I went there last October when I lost somebody, and I was chased out of the place.
Why?
I was chased out. There's total chaos. Don't go there and think that you are safe. There's total chaos. And it is left to each and everyone to be careful with your life. So, the question now is, now the people who were killed, the people who asked them to go out, what have they done? Nothing. And now, there's a saying, there's a proverb in my village, that you should be careful in your family. Each time that the devil are always roving around her from doors to doors in the night, trying to know where there's disunity and to strike. and they put it on somebody, you will not know.
Possibility for dialogue
so
again?
for me, no, the possibility, this
Possibility
is even,
for dialogue, for negotiation.
Yes, this is even the moment that the real dialogue, negotiation, and whatever can take place. Because the two camps wants to first prove something. The government wants to say, I'm the government. You cannot win me. The other faction wants to show that we too, we can withstand. And so now it has reached this level now. It is now left for the two camps. I don't want to say only the government. It's left for the two camps to have pity on their people. Because people are dying.
Yeah.
People are dying on both camps.
Okay. Professor Edmond Bilowa, before we took Eyongta, Professor Edmond Bilowa, we are talking the 5 who were killed in Tico, the CDC workers. Can we say there is still this possibility for dialogue between Yaoundé and the separatists?
Well, the possibility is there, but you said something that was very surprising to me. Since you are all from the southwest, are we all from the southwest? I know that my friend Eyonta is from the southwest. I don't know about the two of us there. Some should be from the northwest. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course.
Well, but
course.
I mean, I can talk about it irrespective of what region I'm from.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only way we can solve this problem is through dialogue. Because we have experienced war, we have experienced violence, we haven't come to agreement, we haven't found peace yet. So we have to go through dialogue in order to find peace. Yes.
So what are you saying? What are you advising Yaoundé to do?
Oh, I think Yaoundé knows what to do. Yaoundé knows what to do. I mean, they know what they have to do, but we are all disturbed by the news that are coming from Yaoundé. Okay, they tell us today that they are not negotiating with anybody and that they have not entrusted Canada into bargaining with the Amazonians. So we don't know on what foot to dance, on what tune to dance now. Because we thought that the Canadian initiative was a very good initiative. And that Canada is a country that is very well respected.
Cameroonian problem, Cameroonian solution?
Yeah, but I mean, Cameroonian solution, since 2017, we haven't found one. So why not try the other solution?
Dr. Eyongta, I know that you used to travel to the southwest and equally the northwest. Tell us, after getting news that of course 5 CDC workers were killed, certainly another sad moment, given that of course we are still trying to see how to solve this issue. I'm talking of the Yaoundé government.
Well, if anybody gets surprised that people are killed in the northwest or southwest, then the person should be coming from the moon. If you are a Cameroonian and you know that the armed conflict going on in those two regions is not yet solved, then you should expect death as a regular announcement. Before the 5 CDC workers were killed, we should inform Cameroonians that more than 50 people had been killed before then, just from the month of December up to the period when that shooting took place. And just immediately after that, about 10 other people have been killed in both regions. So you ask yourself, what are the 5 people? It's no news. You know, when they say 5 people were killed, there are some who survived and who are going to remain handicapped for the rest of their lives. We have to inform the public that 5 died, but 44 others were injured and seriously injured. One of the persons who died, who is a lady, is related to many people. I'm close to Ebude. It's a young girl of less than 35 years who just passed on like that. And the question is, one person has died in East Cameroon, and there is noise everywhere about the person who died, as if life has to be selective. So we keep asking ourselves, what is happening? What is happening? You know, the crisis has come. More than 12,000 people have died. And if we add these figures now, it is above that.
Those are your figures? 12,000?
Just wait. When the war ends, you are going to hear something in this country. Just wait. And that is why some of us think that if something is not done rightfully, even when peace will return, there will still be a very strong problem between these 2 regions and the other 8 regions. There will still be a problem. It is a psychological issue that cannot be healed. You know, the economy has dwindled seriously. The CDC, where the workers attacked, is working less than 50% its capacity before 2016. In this same region, more than 1 million people are displaced. In this same region, about 500,000 students and pupils are not going to school. In these same regions, the Mondays have been declared ghost town up to now that we talk. In these 2 regions, the schools that are going on, less than 20% go to school in uniform. The majority go to school in...
Is school not effective?
School is not effective. Anything that they tell you is fake. Some schools are going on, and I'm saying that the students go to school without their uniforms. They go to school in colored wear, which is not our customs and tradition in these 2 regions. Same in these 2 regions, there are people there who have made it a habit, okay, that this is time to make business, and they are doing the business big time, just as we said. And so, when a war comes to a point where it becomes a business venture, it becomes very difficult to kill it, especially when those benefiting are those who are supposed to solve the problem.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Most of the councils in this area receive at least 100 million francs every year from the Ministry of Local Government and Decentralization. Okay? Go and check how many of those councils use that money effectively in the field. I mean 100 million. Then this excludes the taxes that they collect. Before they stopped the parliamentary grants, the parliamentarian used to receive 8 million francs in parliamentary grant. I don't know why it's a year or what a mandate. A year. Go and check how many of the parliamentarians in this region use the money in the region. You get the point. Go and check now the other institutions that have a budget to manage. Since they are not operational, go and find out how many of them actually put their budget. So you see, the military is there. They have to buy weapons. They have to give them upkeep. They have to. So it is a lot of money that is.
What to do then for dialogue for peace to return, Dr.
Well, the first thing is that the crisis still has at least 10 years. It still has at least 10 years. We have not yet gone to the apex of it.
Why are you so
a dialogue normally comes into a war.
Why are you so pessimistic?
I'm pessimistic because, as Prof. rightly told you people, even they themselves who are in the party that is ruling are a bit worried. If you say they are worried, it is coming from a high-profile person in the party. It already tells you that you and I don't have anything to say if the ruling party is disturbed on the procedure that is being used. We now, as observers and people who are involved in non-governmental organizational issues and involved in this crisis, we are saying that it is still a very long road. Personally, I'm very convinced that we'll start seeing certain concrete measures after 2025. But for now, I can assure you that we are very far from settling the problem.
We shall now be talking Martinez Zogo, but before we talk Martinez Zogo, once again, we want to believe that things will come back to normalcy in both the two Anglophone regions, that is the Northwest and the Southwest, Bamenda and Buea. And of course, we shall be talking Martinez Zogo, but before we talk Martinez Zogo, please jingle before we come back. Martinez Zogo, he was a station manager of Amplitude FM here in Yaoundé. He was kidnapped, brutally assassinated, and the cops exposed. Can we say today we are getting some rumors that two camps are fighting? Is a Martinez Zogo the sacrificial lamb? That is a question that we are asking in our first topic. Can we have it on the screen, Rodrigue? If we can have our topic on the screen, I'll begin with you. Atabon, Martinez Zogo, you heard the news of Martinez Zogo, the killing, the brutal assassination of the animator.
Yes, Mr. Tabi, you know, no one is supposed to take life. It doesn't matter what the person has done. And it's unfortunate that our country has deteriorated to this state where human beings are killed like fowls. And just like a fellow panelist said, this is very glaring in our two Anglophone regions. And this is equally having a serious effect on journalism. That is why we have fake news everywhere, because people are forced to report what their bosses want to hear and not the truth. And now and then we have contrary information in the social media. And if a journalist, I don't know whatever he did, could be murdered as if he's a fowl, it tells us the extent to which people can go in this country just to hinder the circulation of information. We need to be very, very clear. And it is surprising that up to now, the government has not issued any official statement to this.
But it's true that the President of the Republic has instructed for investigations to be opened, and investigations are going on.
Mr. Tabi, this is not the first issue in this country where the President has instructed for investigation to be taken, and after so many years, no report is ever made. We expected the culprit to be in court, and there should be in live television people to follow. For justice to be rendered, it should be clear. It is something that we shouldn't even be asking the government to do. You may be surprised that this thing will turn around and end that way, just like the killings are going on north and south. Nobody cares. It will end like that. And what is going to be the effect? That no journalist is going to report on anything that is going to touch an individual or hinder anything. So I just want us to understand that it is very, very dangerous. It is very, very dangerous as far as we are in this country, that journalism is going to dwindle. Because we can find ourselves that what was the reason that he was killed? We should be informed. What did he do? Was it an issue maybe in the family? We heard that certain persons have been arrested. We are expecting the outcome to be made clear so that Cameroonians can be satisfied.
Investigations are still going on.
Investigations are still going on. We expect to know the steps that are going on.
Yes, Professor Edmond Bilowa, Martinez Ogo, the sacrificial lamb, can we put it that way?
I don't know whether it is correct to say that it's a sacrificial lamb, because we are still waiting for the results of the investigation. We need to find out what is going on. Fortunately, foreign newspapers are reporting on it, as well as local newspapers. But unfortunately, Cameroon isn't communicating on anything. The state of Cameroon is not communicating on it. The intelligence structures that are investigating, they are not communicating on it, and I don't know why. Because elsewhere, the attorney usually communicates, the general attorney or the district attorney or whatever. So we are looking for information. We don't know we don't have the information yet. At least we don't have the official information. We have the information that is relayed to us by foreign newspapers, foreign televisions, but we don't have the official newspapers. The police hasn't said anything. The gendarmerie hasn't said anything. I watched Vision Cat 2 days ago. Was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago. Amogus Bellinga's attorney, Charles Chungang.
It was yesterday?
It was yesterday, gave a press conference. Okay? But that's not it. Because, I mean, that's it. We need to have a balanced information, all right? Chungang should be able to give us his opinion about it. But the powers that be, the officials in Cameroon should also give us their opinion about it. Unfortunately, nothing is forthcoming.
It's true that the international press is actually making a lot of news, reports on this issue. And they are having some figures, some facts that we don't have here. Can we say that?
I mean, we are very grateful to the international press, because without the international press, we wouldn't know even anything. All right? Because it is when this guy from Reporters Sans Frontières, Arnaud Froger, made that report and was interviewed by TV5, that we got enough information to know exactly what was going on. Okay? Because from the presidency's the statement, we didn't know what was going on. Okay, where was he killed? What was he killed? What are the issues at stake? We didn't know. But now, on the basis of what Arnaud Froger said, we already, and everybody in Cameroon, based his or her judgments on what he said. Okay, but we should be. We should encourage the judicial system of Cameroon to communicate on matters that concern Cameroonian people. You understand?
They have to communicate the judicial system.
Yeah, the judicial system has to communicate, because we don't know what is going on. Do you know what is going on?
No, I don't know what is going on.
You don't know. Maybe the only thing that you know is that those people who were involved in that crime are in the gendarmerie, in the SED. That's the only thing that you know. What have they said? We don't know. So we...
But globally, when you look at the assassination of Martinez Zogo, what comes to your mind? Can we say that the press today is free? Can we say that there is that freedom of expression? Because he was actually denouncing things like corruption and bad governance.
You see, when you classify countries, when you classify countries, you have democratic countries, right? And then you have non-democratic countries. It is believed that in a democratic society, you don't kill journalists, all right? Once there is any kind of violence on journalists, it is a sign that that country is not a democratic country, all right? You see, let me give you two examples. One example is the killing of Khashoggi in Turkey, at the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. Okay? Nobody will say that Turkey is a democratic country. You cannot kill a journalist and then you claim that you are a democratic country. The second example I will give you is Turkey itself. Because European countries say that Turkey is not sufficiently democratical. Right? It's not sufficiently democratical. Because the type of things that happen in Turkey cannot happen in a democratic society. You know, journalists are sent to prison, journalists are beaten up in the streets, things like that. Okay? And then the third example I will give you is, you know, Nixon, Richard Nixon, you know, he was the former president of the US, he's now dead. He had a friend who was the director of the CIA. Okay? So he proposed his friend to be director of the CIA, and the Senate approved it. So his friend became the director of the CIA. When Nixon was president, there was a journalist called John Anderson. And John Anderson, I think he was working for the Washington Post for a newspaper, was publishing in the newspaper secrets about the US intelligence. Every time the US wanted to overthrow a government, right, or to kill a president, John Anderson will publish it. So you know what Nixon did? He called his friend, who was the director of CIA, and he told him, okay, good, I want you to make sure that John Anderson is killed. So the director of the CIA told him, no, we cannot do it. America is a democratic country. You cannot kill a journalist because he has informed the American public. It is the work of the journalist to inform the American public. Those who are dealing with such information, if they are unable to keep it secret, that's their business. It's not the business of the journalist. So the CIA director refused. He refused. And he made sure that the information was passed on to the press. Right? That the president wanted John Anderson to be killed. That made sure that Nixon could not ask another service to kill the journalist because he asked the CIA, he could have asked the FBI, he could have asked the Secret Services, he could have asked the Army Intelligence, right? A president is very powerful. But by publishing it in the newspaper, it was now impossible for the president to have John Anderson killed. Okay, that is what we call a democracy. No matter what a journalist says, you cannot kill him. Okay, so to answer your question, you know, it is difficult to maintain that Cameroon is a democratic country. It's difficult to maintain that.
But we are a democratic country.
No.
Prof.
But
there is democracy in Cameroon.
What kind of question are you asking? When I just asked you that, when I just asked you, when I just told you that it is difficult to maintain that as a democratic country.
Yeah.
And now Cameroon has to polish its image by making sure that Martinez Zogo gets a fair trial, and that those who masterminded the killing are punished according to the law of Cameroon. That way Cameroon will somehow polish his image. But for the time being, the image of the country is tarnished.
But Cameroon remains a democratic country. We all know. We all know so.
That's what you are saying. But it is surprising that a journalist will say that Cameroon is a democratic country when a journalist has just been killed. What kind of journalist are you?
Cameroon, there is democracy in Cameroon. We cannot deny that, Prof. Can we deny that?
What are you talking about?
Democracy is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Yeah, there is democracy.
And it's democracy.
Sometimes democracy suffers a lot in Cameroon. That's what you want
to say. Asad Sama, yes, tell us, Martinez Zogo, can we say the sacrificial lamb?
Yeah, I think I will look at the issue of Martinez Zogo at multiple angles. The first thing is that I can say yes. That's the general conclusion. I can say yes. Because what is a sacrificial lamb? It is like from the Bible, from biblical connotation, it means some sacrificing somebody for a cause. They say Jesus Christ, I'm not a Christian, people correct me, that he came on earth and sacrificed for us. And then there's somewhere along the line, somebody sacrificed the son because of this and that. It means that there's a reason for which you give up, you give your life. And why I concluded that you're sacrificial lamb, because sometimes, as I was told in secondary school, you know a character from what the character says. Martinez, before the demise, kept on telling whoever cares to listen that I will continue to denounce this until the only thing you can do to me is to kill me. That's what he said. It means that what he was doing, he knew exactly the consequences, and he was ready for the consequences, which finally happened to be his life. The second angle I look, I said no, it's not a sacrificial lamb, because it depends if what he had died for is even recognized. Elsewhere, we have seen people who have stood for an ideology, have sacrificed their life for the ideology, and we saw the consequences. Look at us Cameroonians. If Martinez Zogo was fighting a just cause, why are we all sleeping in our homes and even questioning why he died? It means that he's not a sacrificial lamb, because he didn't die for what other people are seeing with him. Akamba again, he can be a sacrificial lamb in that not he caused himself to be the sacrificial lamb, but that the people who killed him, by doing all what they did for him to pass out of this earth, they sent a message, meaning they sacrificed him for a cause. And the cause was that as you have poked your officials' nose into our issues, this is the lesson we are giving you. We are sacrificing you for others not to try. And that's exactly why Prof and me here and maybe four of us were surprised why you are insisting that there's democracy when your colleague was sacrificing the most bestial manner. Then another way to look at what Martinez died for is, as Prof was saying, justice. If he was a sacrificial lamb, it will only be accepted from the justice that will be given him. And that's what we Cameroonians are expecting and counting on the justice. But if I want to look at the justice, the fear I have already is that the best will not come out of it. Because it has not followed the orthodoxy of justice. It is not the president who should order for justice to happen. It's not the president. And when you see the president do it, I feel so bad with the president. I pity him because nobody was doing anything. And so what should I even blame the president? No, because something had to be done. The people the president had appointed to do work for in such circumstances were not there. Were not doing it, so the president had to take over. And now, when you listen to some of the people who had to do something, they are questioning the president. You heard a lawyer for one of the parties questioning even the formation of that team to investigate, putting doubts and asking the capability of those people. They are even questioning certain rules that have to follow. Meanwhile, these are people who have never followed any rules. But today they are questioning, and the anger that Cameroonians have, one of them who represent them, is the fact that the way they are questioning.
So you represent the Cameroonian people?
I'm one of them. The way they are questioning these people is always telling us that we should not expect much.
Okay.
Finally, Mr. Martinez, the only thing I can wish him is that he has lived a very useful life.
Apart from being a Seseko chief, town planning expert, you are equally a human rights activist, Dr. Seseko. Eyongta, tell us, can we see Zogo, Martinez, the sacrificial lamb, given that we are having rumors of two camps fighting?
Well, I think, as Hassan said, he will be a sacrificial lamb if the purpose for which he stood yield the desired results. Meaning, he wanted, one, those who are misappropriating state funds to render account through the justice system or be punished. So if at the end of his death or at the end of the inquiry going on or the investigations, nobody who is involved with state misappropriation or the misappropriation of state funds goes down, it means he would have died for nothing. Because that was one of his greatest problems from the human analysis we can make. Number two, he had constantly decried the fact that there was bad governance or lack of checks and balances. If at the end of all of this, the system continues to run with the absence of checks and balances, then he would have not been a sacrificial lamb. Number three, you will see that he kept saying that he is a son of the president, the head of state. Even when he was castigating other collaborators of the president, he kept singing praises to the president. So, if the president does not go to the end of investigation of those who killed his son for defending him and for assisting him in governance, it means he would have not died a sacrificial lamb. Number four, you will see that today in Cameroon, the problems are just too many. Social, economic, political. And then, it is now that many are getting up from sleep to say that they need to talk. So that if they talk, something can happen. And if Martinez, has died because he thought that Cameroon can be better than it is, and at the end of all of this, Cameroon does not change, he will not have died a sacrificial lamb.
Can we have some images of Martinez Zogo?
Martinez was saying that as a journalist, he has the right to say things the way he sees them. He has the right to look for information, publish the information, and he does not care if he dies because other people are going to continue that same fight. If after all of this, another Martinez does not come up in the field of journalism, then he would have died without being a sacrificial lamb. Again, Martinez is a young guy who was showing other youths that you can still be in the system and still be objective. You can still be in the system and castigate members of the system who are not doing well to help the government or help the president. And so, if he dies and other young people don't follow that trend, it will mean that he didn't die a sacrificial lamb. Mr. Tabi Clarkson, the president himself, said on the 31st of December 2022 that all those who have tampered with state funds were going to render account for it and face justice if need be. That is what Martinez took over and continued the fight. So, Mr. President, for you to make sure that the other journalists and all those who follow your speech and want to help you continue to do so without fear, you must show example to those who assassinated Martinez Zogo. And to end up, I'm happy now to see members of the CPDM defend the killing of one of theirs on the fact that he was brutally assassinated and the body mutilated and exposed. I want to remind Prof and his other collaborators that many CPDM members have been killed in the Northwest and Southwest. Many. Why is it that they did not take into it to also fight that fight? Why is it that they did not go to the platform to also make those elements? But today, we can see that everybody is around this element, including, I hear from one of their communication member, one of the mayors, who is to be with us here, that he was fully in the campaign trail, okay, as a journalist in the 2018 presidential elections in favor of the President of the Republic. So I want to beckon the presidency that this is a young man who has put his life on line to give the presidency a green light to stamp out corrupt officials. We are not saying here that anybody is responsible, but we know people are responsible because the killing is not that he was beaten by a dog or by a snake. It shows that he was tortured by human beings, and so let they help us. Prof said something that I want to end up with. If you go to neighboring countries, English speaking, when a murder case takes place or an assassination, and they put in place an inquiry team, there is always a head of that team. When they do any action, they do a press conference, sometimes even at the site. Like when they went to some houses and media places to carry out, there and there as they come out, the stand out journalists are with them and they give them a briefing of what has happened so that they don't go into despair and start saying things that are not real. When they are to be taken to maybe auditing or for hearing, the team also comes out and the security team and says the same thing. After that, the Anthony or the team of judges that listen to them also comes out and tells the press what they should go and write correctly and inform everybody unanimously without ambiguity and people putting salt and sugar. In that case, you will not have 20 versions of the same story at the same time, you know, and so it becomes more confusing, and that is why some people in this panel are beginning to say that if it continues like that, it therefore means it will be a Ngabu incident, it will be the Kumba incident, it will be the Bishop Ballas incident, it's going to be the Wazizi incident, and at the end of it, the lawlessness that has developed in the minds of demigods in this country may turn them into Satanism.
Can we say, Atabong, given that the president has instructed for investigations and investigations are going on, some persons are under custody, that Cameroon is gradually changing, that the time of impunity is over?
Well, until we have tangible feedback, we can't say Cameroon is gradually changing, because like I earlier said, it's not the first time that the president is ordering for investigation to be carried out. And after a considerable period of time, we don't get any information.
But in this case, we have seen people are already under custody.
So many people are even in Kodenge without any feedback to date. That people have been arrested, sentenced to prison, to jail, but we don't have any information. Just like the other panelists are saying, the public need to know what is happening. It doesn't matter either people have been arrested. You know, until proven guilty, they are not guilty.
Yeah.
They are they are under custody for investigation, and they will be proven that they are not guilty, and they'll be set free. That will not mean that Cameroon has changed. We have seen so many people have been arrested. So we are expecting that this case should unfold rapidly, and the public should be informed rightfully, and that from this juncture, the government should realize that if the killing of one can be this painful, how much more of the killing of so many in the Northwest and Southwest, and that this same procedure should continue while the public is assisting the government or the system in place to see justice being meted on those who carry out this. Let us be aware that those who carry out such actions have power in their hands. And we are grateful that the president is taking it upon himself to see that justice is meted, because some of them even believe, you realize that some of them who are carrying out this act believe that, like Dr. Riley said, they are demigod. They believe they can't be touched, or they believe they are so close to the president. The president must go above this mentality and make the people know that no one is above the law. It doesn't matter what position you hold. It doesn't matter what you are doing. It doesn't matter you have saved the country. You have no right to take life. And if this is not done, it will just show the public that the crisis in Northwest and Southwest is gradually spreading into East Cameroon. And before we know, we will begin to have more killings even in the East Cameroon. Gradually, it wouldn't be an Anglophone crisis, but it will be a Cameroon crisis, because I think that this killing, it will either help bring peace to Cameroon or increase the rate of terrorism. I hope it will not only be Amba being terrorists, maybe we will have terrorists in the East Cameroon who are beginning to assassinate human beings, and not only that, expose the body for whatever crime, I don't know, because we know of several criminals who are in this country, who have been in the system and they have not been touched, and for whatever reason, whatever thing the journalist said, he was murdered. So we are calling on
Martinez
the president to do something, and do it quite fast.
Martinez Zogo was
So that
denouncing bad governance, was denouncing corruption. In his release, the President of the Republic, through the Secretary General, the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, made it clear that he was standing beside the journalist. Can we see today, Prof. Edmond Bilowa, that the fact that these investigations have been opened, asked by the President of the Republic, there is nothing to be scared of when you are a journalist in Cameroon today?
No, it is not the first time that a journalist has been killed. There are so many examples. You know, Ouazizi, just recently, Jean-Jacques Bébé, the priest. And there are also, I'm sure, cases we don't know much about, okay? Because unfortunately, investigations don't usually produce relevant results, so we don't know. So it is not yet time to say that journalists should not be afraid. They have every reason to be afraid. They have every reason to be afraid. And for the beginning, if those who took part in the killing of Martinez are punished, they are severely punished, that will be a very good beginning. That, irrespective of their social or political status, if they are punished, that will be a message that no matter who you are,
Nobody is above the law.
you cannot be above the law. No matter who you are, you cannot be above the law. Until such time as it has happened, journalists have to be afraid. Not only journalists, but everybody. Because what it shows is that, I mean, people, the powers that be, or those who have money, they can just order their friends to kill you. And they can even ask those who are supposed to protect us to kill you. Okay? That is even why it is so frightening. And that is why Martinez's case is so special. Because the intelligence services, the security services, who are supposed to work for the state of Cameroon, took part in the killing of Martinez. Whereas these people are supposed to protect Cameroon. They are supposed to protect the citizens of Cameroon. That is why Martinez's case is so special. It's so special. It is like in the US, somebody asking the FBI or the CIA to kill a citizen or to kill a journalist. All right? So now you understand why the former CIA director told Nixon, we cannot do it. We cannot do it. So, I mean, this case is very bad for the image of Cameroon. But ultimately, it may turn out to be good for the image of Cameroon, depending on how people who are being investigated now are judged. Okay? Because if the judgment is right, is fair, people will say, okay, Cameroon is on the right track. On the opposite, if it is business as usual, people have every right to be afraid. You too should be afraid. Because you feel that because you are working for Camp 10 today, you are protected. What if tomorrow you are working for another new medium and you are no longer protected? You understand? So this Martinez Zogo case, it's a case that should interest everybody. We should not look at our own personal interest. Okay? Because you see people who know...
Some are describing it as a state crime. Do you think it's a state crime? Some are saying it's a state crime. Martinez Zogo, the killing of Martinez Zogo.
You see, the fact that the security forces were involved, the fact that the security forces are the ones who killed Martinez. The security forces are the one who killed Martinez. All right? That is why people are saying that it's a state crime. It is a state crime. All right? But at the same time, it is not because you are working for Camdis that if you commit a murder, the whole organization of Camdis should be accused of that. You understand? In administrative law, where there is a theory of separated acts, la théorie des actes séparés. That is, even if you work for an organization, if you commit a crime, you don't engage the organization for whom you are working. But at the same time, the organization should be questioned. It should be the organization should be questioned, because the state should find out whether it is a common habit within the organization to do such things. Is it a common habit in the secret services, in the intelligence services of Cameroon to commit crime? Is it a common habit for the police in Cameroon to commit crime? Is it a common habit for the gendarmerie to commit crime? We need to have answers to those questions, okay? Because those answers will determine the future.
Those answers will determine the future questions that the prof is asking. Certainly, you have answers to those questions, Hassan Sama?
No, not necessarily answer, but I'm so impressed with what prof has said. Yes, I think that the Martinez case is the special nature of Martinez case, that you may be surprised that what is going on as said now is no longer only the killing of Martinez. All other things in Cameroon are going on because Martinez case is interwoven. If he was talking about governance, he was talking of embezzlement, he was talking of, it means, and these are the things that have reduced Cameroon to where we are. But before I say all that here, I want to answer two questions coming from one from Dr. Sissoko and one from my Mr. Atabo here. They have asked the rhetorical question. Why is it that it is this Martinez case has taken a certain importance, more than 12,000 people have died in Northwest and the Southwest? I want to answer in my own way. There's only one Cameroonian whose life matters in Cameroon, is Mr. Pobia. And each time Mr. Pobia's life or his position is threatened, he reacts. And he makes us believe that he is for himself, he's not for us. What do I mean by that? Mr. Pobia took the bull by the horns over this Martinez case when those chiefs from Leke performed certain rites at that spot where Martinez was found. And considering that Mr. Pobia, some of his powers comes from there, he knows He knows what those people are capable of doing. That is how he came out. If not, Mr. Pobia would have remained him as quiet.
Now, the way they killed Martinez also, the way he was exposed.
You are the one. Did you see her?
The way he was exposed.
Did you see her? Sam Sawyer was slaughtered over TV, was filmed, was slaughtered in Bello when this case just started. He was slaughtered by military in uniform. He was slaughtered. And they filmed it and sent it out. Who said what?
No, that was a different case. Given that Martinez was denouncing something that the president actually asked Cameroonians to do
that one
on the 31st of December.
No, that one he should even be killed because he was even denouncing. Sam Sawyer was slaughtered for nothing. He was a handicap. He was not a fighter. They said as his handicap he had dreadlocks, he's not supposed to live. We are not there. I just wanted to answer the two of them that Mr. Biya came out because his position as president of the country.
That is what you are saying. You are the one saying so.
I'm the one saying
okay, you are the one saying so.
Yes. Then secondly, as Prof said, Prof has almost said everything. We are only adding. Prof says the only thing that will make Cameroon's image come back to something is the result of this inquiry. But Prof, I'm not a prophet of doom. Be ready to have shocks. Because from the way things are going, I am afraid nothing good will come out of it.
Okay, just 1 minute. Atabong, before we move on to our second topic, 1 minute. On Martinez, we go again, the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, I think we should be optimistic for the time being, and we are hoping that they should inform us early enough. Just like you said, if we don't have any information after a month, then we should be rest assured that it's going to be a failure.
Seseko?
Well, what is happening now is the theory of the parable where our parents say, if you beat my nose without being afraid of kata, if you beat my nose without being afraid of excreta, when I want to beat your nostrils, I will not be afraid of kata, because excreta to them is more dangerous than kata. And I think when you look at what is happening now, you will see that it is a matter of somebody having beaten somebody's nose without being afraid of excreta, and they are beating his nostrils too without being afraid of kata. You know, what we are saying here is that it is a bit disturbing to see that today people are clamoring for justice in a very harmonized and coherent manner. They have forgotten many other chapels and other things that, other belongings like partisanship, being from the central region. Nobody is looking at it from that angle. They are looking at a genuine Cameroonian who was killed and who has to, where justice has to be done. When we started the crisis and we come to the platform and we cry about our brothers and sisters who are being killed, it was that we were being partisan. We were sympathizing with terrorists. We were consoling secession. So I like what is happening so much. For people to feel the pains of how we have been feeling losing a close one. Mr. Martinez, you are a hero. You are a hero. And we want to assure you, we who have been genuine about every Cameroonian who has been killed, contrary to others who saw them as terrorists, that you are a positive terrorist. You have terrorized people with your microphone, and they thought that an elephant can kill every human being or can kill all animals, but now you, a fly, has gone through the nostrils of an elephant. Let us see how the elephant survives that one.
Excreta kata, well, a hero, Martinez ago, Prof. Edmond Bilowa?
Yeah, certainly. He was a very courageous young man. No matter how you look at it, whether he was being given the information by some people who were fighting some other people in the government, the fact of the matter is that he was informing the general public. And the general public was interested in getting those kind of information.
True.
So Martinez was doing the job of a journalist, okay? And I think it will be remembered for that, okay? It will be remembered for carrying out what is called investigative journalism, okay? And I think he did very good service to the Cameroonian people.
Martinez Zogo, yes, you want to add something?
My last word on that, I will answer by the question you asked, Prof.
Yeah.
Whether Prof said you should be afraid of yourself as a journalist.
Of course,
no,
I am.
No.
We should not be.
A journalist,
Should
if
not
you
be
do
afraid.
your work very well, it's just like a soldier on the battlefield. A soldier on the battlefield cannot be afraid. Because you're afraid, you will be killed. So if you are doing your work as a journalist, do it so well that even you are dying, you die.
Like Martinez Zogo.
I don't know whether he was doing so well because I don't know much about journalism. But I think that anything you do, if you do it with your full mind, your heart, in a positive way, whatever comes your way, you take it with your two hands. So there's no need to be afraid. Just do your work. You people have ethics to follow. Follow the ethics. I think that one is that you inform the people accurately. You don't take side. So once you start taking side, be ready that something can happen to you. Do your work very well. Don't be afraid. Death will come. If something must kill somebody.
There are lessons that we can draw from Martinez Zogo's case. And one of these lessons is that we should be tolerant. We should be tolerant. That's what tolerance is about. Democracy is about tolerance. Tolerance, yes. I mean, somebody can say something very different from what I'm saying, but we can live together. We can live together. And you see that all these things that Martinez Zogo was saying, nobody ever died because of that. And I'm not even sure that something will have happened because of that. Okay, so we should learn to be tolerant vis-a-vis our fellow citizens.
We should be tolerant. We should accept our differences. It's true that we still have 15 minutes before we go. 15 more minutes, but we shall still be talking Martinez Zogo, especially with the outings of traditional chiefs, be them the Sawa chiefs, or again those of Lekki here in the central region of Cameroon. It's true that we equally got news that the chiefs from the north, the Grand North, are equally planning to come out too. So how to understand the outings of these traditional chiefs? We have a chief here with us, Chief Seseko. The killing of Martinez, traditional chiefs are coming out to ask for justice. Can we say it's a nice initiative taken by chiefs?
Well, Hassan said something in the beginning of his in his introit that what the chiefs of Lekki did at Ebogo 3 was very strategic and spiritual.
But we are not seeing all the topic here.
And we want to say here that rightful chiefs are very, very blessed with ancestral powers. I repeat, rightful chiefs are very blessed with ancestral powers. And whenever they come out for something positive, for something which they have been blessed to do, for something which they have been coronated to do, their fruits are always very, very rapid and positive. You know, when I got up that morning and I saw pictures and videos of the incantation that were done there, I said to myself, wow, Martinez was really a son of the soil, was really a son of his father, and was really a son loved by the Lekki people and equally the chiefs, because he's not a chief.
Yeah.
I have not heard that he's from the royal family.
Yes,
Neither have I heard that he has been praising chiefs in his outings. But you see, they see him as one of the young stars that were coming up in that area. They see him as a representative of the customs and traditions of Lekki. And from the little information I have, he was very regular in the village and had a lot of communality with his people, to show that even though he was not an appointed or elected official in the country, he was impacting his community in one way or the other. And so for the chiefs to come out without looking at his rank in society, without looking at his rank in the community, it shows that some of them can still stand for the truth. They can still stand for the right things to be done. And we just want to think that chiefs are still conscious of their responsibilities and duties. But because of the way they have been integrated in the system, it has made most of them to lose that ancestral link, to lose that communal powers that they had, And so most of them now even do incantations that don't work. Because when you invoke incantations with a biased mind, or if it was an evil person that was killed and they went there to do incantations, it will not work. It will not work. So I want to strongly believe that what the chiefs did impacted the system and the results that have come up. Now, if you look at the outings of the other chiefs from the littoral, you will see that as much as the equally stood for justice and objectivity, they were indirectly also drawing attention to the fact that, hey, one of us is being indexed, our sons is being indexed also in this matter. So as you go on with your investigation and wanting to, you should try to make sure that things are done rightfully. Because from the social media reportings and the external media, there is a prominent son of the Sawa that is involved in the accusation. And they think that if that son of theirs has to be brought down, they should not be associated with the best that has gone on. If you look at it very well, you will see that that is what they are trying to do. Dissociate themselves from associating with criminals or with assassins. And the question is, can the other chiefs also take a relay to know that even if they are supporting their son or daughter and he does something that is against humanity, that is against customs and tradition that they stand for, they will let you go. Because one of their duties is to protect their citizens, is to protect those that they govern, and to make sure that justice prevails in society.
Yes, Atabo, you are not a chief.
Yeah.
Or you are a prince?
I am not a chief. I see.
How to understand how things of the chiefs, the traditional chiefs?
Yes, the chiefs, as we know, they are a symbol of authority. They have a lot of power. If we look back at West Cameroon, we know that the chiefs were really empowered, and they serve as the father to the people under them. And killing one of theirs to them is as killing their own son. And there is need for them to come out and intervene. I'll give you an example. If you take a puppy where the mother is there, the mother will intervene. So it is a duty that they are performing. And I think they did it rightly at the right time. And
but we have not seen the chiefs in the northwest and the southwest coming
that is just where I was driving to, because you see, the problem, like a doctor said, is the way the system has infiltrated into chieftaincy, appointing some which they don't even merit it, dethroning some that really merit it. This has brought a lot of politics into chieftaincy that they don't have the
right. Some chiefs go in for elections too.
So to say, and then when the people know that the wrong person is sitting on their throne, he lacks that respect and doesn't have the power. So if the chiefs of the Leke came out knowing that they rightfully have that authority and perform such rituals, it was a threat to the nation, because it was not only going to touch one person, but from what we have learned, it was a whole gang up that led to the death of Martin Zogo. So if other chiefs can come out, and in any other case they come out, you realize that it will go a long way to resolve problems. Let me just take you back even to the problems in the northwest and southwest. You will realize that most of the chiefs are not even in their setting. They are not in their villages. Why? Because they don't even hold the right power to the throne. They have sold their position into the system. They rather want to defend the system than the people that they have the authority to serve. And that is why they are running away from the people. Because the right chiefs, a few of them, are still in their palaces. And these so-called terrorists know them, and they have not done them anything, because they are fair. They will tell them what they are doing is wrong, and they will tell the government what they are doing is wrong. So the chiefs of the Leke are now the Sawa are coming out because they know what they have. And we are urging other chiefs, take this opportunity to call the chiefs in the northwest and southwest to follow suit. Because if two different settings of chiefs come up for the killing of one, the northwest and southwest with several villages, if they came out,
the first and the chiefs,
when the first person fell, possibly would have had our own crisis resolved. We just pray that other chiefs should follow suit.
Before we take our son Sama, Professor Edmond Bilowa, the Leke chiefs, I know you are coming from the center region, from the Baman Kime, if I'm not mistaken.
Baman
the Leke chiefs gave 45 days 45 days for the corporates to start talking. Do you think this is possible?
You know, the chiefs have a lot of power. Like Dr. Ayonta said, they have a lot of power. And especially when it is almost proven that they had no material interest in the case, right? They just reacted that way because they felt that their son, okay, a son of the Lekki division, was murdered. All right? And usually, when the chiefs react that way, okay, there are dire consequences. Okay? I come from the Bamankin division. So we are neighbors with the Lekki division. As a matter of fact, Martinez Zogo was a Mangisa.
Yes, Mangisa.
The Mangisa are culturally, ethnically related to my tribe. Okay? The Mangisa, some of them who are older like me, they still speak my language. They still speak my language. And usually, when there is something like this, you know, somebody goes to the village and does something, right? He does something, you know, he kills somebody, and then he goes to the village and he wants the village to do in such a way that he is not punished. The first thing that the village will ask him is, what did you do? Right? If the village finds out that you committed the crime for no reasons, you were not defending yourself, or just because you wanted to steal something, the village will tell you there is nothing we can do about it. Okay? There is absolutely nothing we can do about it. Go home and pray God. Because the traditional chiefs will tell you, if you are a very unlawful person, will not help you. But if something wrong has been done to you while you are innocent, they will fight for you. And the chiefs from the Lekki had the feeling that Zogo did nothing. He was just doing his job. I mean, just because you are doing your job, you cannot be killed. All right? Or just because you are giving information, you cannot be killed. And that's why they say that those who did it will be punished. And when they said they have 45 days to start talking, first of all, they have to recognize that what they did. And second of all, ultimately they will be punished. The rights that they did, it means that everybody who was involved in that murder will start dying slowly. We have the same traditions. We have the same tradition. They have to confess that they did it. But that will not save them. They will be punished.
The 45 days, of course, will end on the 3rd of March 2023, because we are doing the counting. We are counting. And Asan Sama, we're talking of these chiefs, Northwest and Southwest. The crisis is on, and we have not seen them coming like the Lekki chiefs or the Sawa chiefs. Can we say that it's a problem? Our chiefs are not genuine? Those in the Southwest and Northwest?
No, we will not just say like that. It is not enough. Their action is not enough for us to maybe dethrone them. The thing is that what happened, what the chiefs of the Mangisa, what they did, it came spontaneously. I don't think anybody even went to them to tell them. They heard it and they felt it deep into their hearts, and they said no. And what they did there cannot be undone. It's just like you go in the palace, you are crowned. They give you the cup. you drink from there, and you go home, your brother says, no, I will not call you chief. No, you have been crowned. You have drunk from that cup. That's what makes you a chief. What was done there cannot be undone. As Prof says, the repercussions will be. But let us not wait down on the dead. Everybody who did something will die. No. Secondly, the Sawa chiefs has just missed an opportunity to be quiet because they don't need them. They were not out for justice. They were out to defend an individual, which is not correct. That's interference. And they have forgotten one thing so soon. I don't know where I work. There is somebody who had problems with hierarchy. And these various our chiefs, they came here around 30 of them, all in Sanja. They drank wine here, when that they wanted somebody to receive them so that they should not put it. The next day the man was dismissed. Meanwhile, the man was only on suspension. The next day they were dismissed. So this type of interference from the Sawa chief is unfortunate. It will mar the situation of their person they want to defend. The Northwest chiefs and the Northwest Fonds and the Southwest chiefs, they were found in between the Blue Sea and the deep Blue Sea and the devil, because they had accepted to sell their thrones to ordinary persons. They got themselves involved in politics, and their subjects went on the rostrum, fought, campaigned for a public position and beat them there. Once you are beaten there, you no longer have authority to talk. So but the worst thing that you have not said is that instead of the really staying them quiet, what they did was they instead performed their own against their children who were being killed. And it happened in Donga and Mantum that 3 of the chiefs, first happened in Manu. Somebody may correct me here. They went and performed a certain rite, and the day they left, they had an accident. I'm sure the 3 of them died. But the one I can testify very much is the one in Donga Mantum, where they went and performed the rites against the so-called Abba boys. They finished the rites. The next day, the fun who led the district, he was found dead. Nobody killed him. So the Almighty God, we don't see him, but he exists. He's very close to us. But we have our ancestors. When the ancestors come back on earth here with a whip, they don't come to judge. They come to pass sanction. Those people, what they said it and went them. But I want to end up telling you that those people are very wise. You remember that some few days after, they came somewhere and said, we are in this minister's house, this and that, we are apologizing. Yes. They told us where they were. That way we have been tied here and we have asked to say this, we have said it. But they tell you that we are going back to that place to undo, to revoke what they did, nothing. So we should expect the people will pay. Lastly, if you are a thief and you are not caught, are you not still a thief?
Ancestral powers.
Sorry, let me just add a few things there.
Yes.
As a traditional ruler that I am, to say that most often when we do incantations, it is not limited to those who commit the offense. We usually say the generation. So people should know that even if today they don't notice on those who are living what has happened to them, it will happen in the generation. In our customs and tradition, they don't swear and say you who did it. They always say you and your family will bear the consequences. So it goes to great and great grandchildren. Therefore, we are saying that when rites like this are performed, they are not performed by chance. The things that come there, the person that is supposed to talk is usually chosen rightfully after a series of incantations and the choices made. And they must be sure that it is somebody who communicates with the ancestors. And we want to say that if it was the case of Magu, for example, we have a system where if somebody is killed and the chiefs want to revoke it, we have other things that we do and something happens with immediate effect. So it is just unfortunate that people think that because some chiefs have been bored, because they are influenced now by that, their powers are not still there. No, some of us will not be influenced. We will not be influenced, and even as we speak now, we are making it clear that we are there for the people and for justice. and if we miss the track, the power that you have automatic, you feel an emptiness in you, Mr. Tabi. Even when we are judging cases in the Council of Land or somebody, once you pass a wrong judgment, you feel an impact on you immediately, like something has left you or some nightmares, and you must find a way to counter such decisions.
We say thank you.
The chiefs, we give you people some encouragement to go ahead and change this country, because you owe us that.
We say thank you. Maybe a last word from the Prof before we go. Which message are you giving out?
Well, the message I'm giving out is that we are all waiting for the results of the investigation with respect to Martinez's case, and that the people of Cameroon pretty much want justice to be carried out, because we don't want justice to be delayed, because justice delayed is justice denied.
Justice delayed is justice denied. I want to reassure again Professor Edmond Bilowa that Martinez Zogo is my very good friend. He used to be my very good friend, especially as we worked together in Radio Tianto. So it's on this note of hope that justice will be given to Martinez Zogo that we are putting an end to this, another edition of the Republican debate, the Escreta and the Qatar, as Siseko was actually saying, you want to see, want to believe that Martinez Zogo will have justice. Well, we say thank you for watching. Take another appointment, same time next week on the same channel. Today we say, may God continue to bless the Republic.